Hey, what's up, y'all? What's going on? This is another 4 a.m. session on February 24th, 2023. My apologies, y'all, for being a little late. I'm like 30 minutes late, 4:30 on the dot. I was getting active on actually working on these pieces. I'm almost dead. I'm almost finished. I'm sewing this on together, and I just didn't want to stop the groove. You know what I mean? Once I started, I just couldn't stop. But this is the Utopia, a company that this is a display piece that will be displayed. It's not all the way done yet. As you can see, I removed partially some of the swoosh to apply this twill fabric on there, but I plan to actually hand sew this on as well, using this right here. You know what I mean? It's funny, right? Because as I was sewing the tongue onto this, attaching this, this was actually from a hat, and I applied the material of the hat, a logo, cut it out, put it onto the swooshes, and I put it onto here. As you can see, that's Tiger Woods there, and it's beautiful because this actually coincides with the color palette in a little bit. But these are the Jordan golf shoes, and this one of my collectors, they had commissioned me to make this piece months ago. They booked a slot when I launched an opportunity for some of my supporters to book a slot at a discount. You know what I mean? You can say that, right? I gave discounts out. You know what I mean? When I was first starting on this full-time position of mine, we're working doing artwork full-time. But as I was doing this morning, I was reminded of when I remember in the beginning, when I remember doing like patches or taking my mother's scarves, cutting them up and putting them on jeans. I was just like, wow, having no knowledge of how to sew, I'm guessing that it was already embedded in me. My mother, she was a seamstress. She would crochet. She would do like these excellent, magnificent pieces, and she would just create them and put them all in like tubs. And she would go to different people's houses and try to sell them. And it's wild. As I was sewing this thing today, I was just like, wow, I could be possibly living my mother's wildest dreams, because as she was an entrepreneur herself, creating for herself and for others and taking orders, she stopped because she felt like people wasn't paying her worth. Here it is, she was spending hours upon hours like crocheting, making hats, scarves, you name it, and she felt like what she was creating wasn't valued. And now you look at fashion today, how it has made a major shift in the DIY culture, the do-it-yourself culture. And I just, was just thinking like, man, my mom was here doing what she do on the reg. Even if she retired, if she decided to retire, she would have, definitely been ahead of her. She was ahead of her time with her collecting plants. And me and my sisters would be like, yo, Mom, why are you talking to plants? You know what I mean? She's like, I'm talking to them because they are alive just like you and I. And she was just a brilliant human being. But I was just thinking about that this morning, and the title of this session is called We Are the Seamstresses of Our Life. We can speak life, we can speak death, we can create these scenarios in our minds. For me, like my friends will tell you, like sometimes when I might be thinking good or negative, I tend to have a vivid imagination, and I can create these things in my mind that might necessarily not be true. And you've seen that some of the greats have done this as well, like Michael Jordan. He would get on the court and he would actually paint scenarios on my connection. Oh, sorry. He would paint scenarios in his mind as if something, another team had. I'm not sure what's going on with my connection. But Michael Jordan would set those things up as well, where he would make it where as though some things had happened. He would make it up in his mind just to dominate the game. So it has its positives and also its negatives, but the main important thing is to be in control, right? So for those who just tapped on, I was just talking about this piece that I was creating, and as it related to, I was reminded of my mom, you know what I mean, of how, she was a seamstress. That saying, you reap what you sow. That's so powerful. That's so powerful. And, if you look at those previous sessions where I talked about, the synchronicities and, speaking things into existence, those things ring true, and those things are definitely connected to me as well. And as I shared before, I have many stories like that things came, in full circle, in those full circle moments. And I was just on the phone talking to my cousin Jazz, and I was just explaining to him the list that I created. If y'all seen in February, I was talking about the 300 items that I wrote down. And I encourage anyone who haven't tapped into that episode, if you're just seeing this if you're just hearing me talk about this for the first time, I encourage from this video that I've seen, Steve Harvey was talking about how you wrote down 300 things, and when you get to the 75th thing that you need to write down of what you want, your brain is gonna really freeze, because you're not gonna figure out any. But when you look at something on a day to day, and you continue to look at it, it's like it leaves something that's there. You know what I mean? So I encourage anybody that paper. What they say, I always say this: people forget, but paper remembers. So it's important that we write and we're being intentional about what we're writing down. As it pertains to what we want. And I was just saying with Jazz that a few things already came full circle. A few things already is coming to light even in this week, even as I speak. Opportunities are coming out of nowhere of what I even said that I wanted to do, and I'm walking into that. So I'll share with you as things continue to progress. But definitely write down 300 things if you can. It's going to take some time, you know what I mean, that you want, that you would love to see sown into your life, and just watch it happen. I mean, what do we have to lose? You get what I'm saying? And even taking that time to actually write something, you're giving yourself that time and that space and that meditation, and just releasing it, just dumping it, just leaving leaving those thoughts on that paper, and walking away and coming back to it. I believe it has, I'm seeing it and I'm witnessing it. It has magical properties there, right? So, I wanted to elaborate more on this, I will share a story with you guys. When I spoke about in the beginning of this session about how I used to take my mother's my mother's scarves. I remember one time, and this is when I started my creative journey of actually putting patches on jeans. I would take my mother's expensive scarves and I would cut them up. And I remember when she would come home from work, I would show her what I've done. And I was like, "Ma, look what I did." And she was like, "Is that my scarf?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it is." You know what I mean? Not even thinking that she would be like, I thought she was going to be more impressed about my work. But I've always, just like her, I've had this creative niche. And I think that with her and always being a seamstress and the other talents that she had, and also my dad, my biological father, who I barely knew, but I was told that he was building things with his hands, and how I'm able to put, some of this work on now sneakers. But back in the day, man, I created a lot of things out of what I've had, and not knowing that, like I said, a part of it, when I was sewing this stuff, and I forgot, I thought I lost my touch. I felt a sense of happiness. I was like, wow, you know what I mean? And I'd be honest with you, when I first started doing this, when I first started creating, I had no knowledge of doing anything. This is before even YouTube was out. Even recently, I haven't sewn anything in a while besides me using a self-crank sewing machine. But it's already embedded in me because it's in my genes, because my mother was a creative. So, some of the stuff we already have in us, and, some of the stuff we, have to exercise, because if you don't use it, you lose it. So if you don't use these tools to actually write down what you want, we forget what we want. And when we forget what we want, we lose that guidance, that thread, so all this is creating a thread, of being able to really focus and hone in on. Because if you don't know what you want, or if you're not figuring out on a day-to-day what it is that you want, how are we able to materialize that? Because what we focus on, it expands, right? So the more we focus on these things, we pretty much can take hold of it. You get what I'm saying? And it may come in the same form and fashion that you had envisioned, or it might come in a different way. But the important thing is actually just writing it down and focusing on it and actually chipping away each day, like you chiseling it down each day. This piece, I worked, on it each and every time, and I work on some of my pieces in advance, so that way I'm able to chisel away at it before the actual deadline. You know what I mean? So, but this is coming to a close. I'm gonna gloss this thing up, and I might add something in the back, or I might leave it regular. But if you guys also would like to have any questions that would like to be answered, somebody did just mention, and shout out to them. I forgot their name, but they said, "Hey, can you leave an email in the description that people can go to be able to message." So I'm gonna be leaving an email. I'm gonna try to do it today, so be on the lookout. Come back to this video as I add the updates to this video, and check out the descriptions, or go back to some of them. I'm gonna try to update as much of them as I can, but I will be leaving in the description an email that everybody can send to ask questions that don't necessarily want to be, that want to be private. So, but anyway, I'm gonna get on out of here, y'all. But yeah, definitely be encouraged. Have a wonderful Friday. Also have a blessed weekend. I promised that I would give you guys 4 of these. That may change in the month of March, depending on my schedule, because I'm about to be taking on a lot of other projects. So I might scale down for the 4 week. It might be maybe once a week. We'll see how it goes. But I appreciate everybody that has been tapping in, since I started this. We're going to continue this journey. Be on the lookout. I'm going to still be coming in here, checking in with the Jazz and Keys podcast. If you haven't, look at that. The recent episode was the vision, you know what I mean? So shout out to Jazz, man. Definitely, we're looking to give you guys more stories and more content. And we're just excited to be able to be in this time, to be able to share this with you guys. So, thank you. And like I said, leave something in the comment. What you think about this? Like, share, subscribe. You hear me? Sound like a YouTuber. But nah, peace, many blessings, much love.